Alright, biology lab students, in this video I'm going to go over how to create your survivorship graph. So the information that you'll need to complete this graph is the data from the whole class that was collected, and then survivorship calculations were made. And that was sent to you in an email, or you can find it on the announcements page of the Blackboard site for lab as well. So once you have that information, the graph that I have here I thought was a good representation of a survivorship graph. So that's the one that I'm going to use to kind of explain how you'll make your survivorship graph for this lab. So the first thing that you want to have is a title for your graph. So in this case, it is a survivorship graph, so definitely we'll have that in the title. So we'll have survivorship. But we did not look at these different groups of people. We looked at men and women that died before 1900, and then men and women that died between 1900 and 1950, and then men and women that died after 1950. So that would be what you would put up here. So you'd have the men and women who died before 1900 versus men and women who died after, or between 1900 and 1950 versus men and women who died after 1950. Alright, so you want to make sure that you have a title. And it explains kind of what the graph, it's kind of a summary of what you're looking at on that graph. So it's very important to have a title. Alright, after you're done with the title, then what you want to do is you want to label your axis. So we have the x-axis and the y-axis. So on a survivorship graph, we're going to have the age, and in this case they did it in increments of 5. So you could do that. Now in our lab we did in age ranges, so like we did 0 to 9 and then 10 to 19, and so that may be a better way to label the age, but definitely it'll be the age in years that you'll have on this this axis. And again, as long as you just want to make sure, because each of these little even boxes here, same size boxes, they represent a certain amount of they should all be equal, so they should all represent a certain amount of time. So just make sure that, you know, if you're going to use this one here for 0 to 9 years, and then this one for 10 to 19, and then, so just make sure that it's even, or if you're going to like skip and do every 2, just make sure that they represent the same amount of space on the graph. So you'll have the age in years down here, and then your percent survivorship, or this says percent surviving, which is fine. So we had percents anywhere from 0 to 100, because we did it, you know, from birth to death. So, so you would want to label it like this, because these are the percentages that we used. And again, these all go by 10, so they're all even. So that's what you'll want to label this part of the graph, is with the percent survivorship. Alright, and now we'll kind of go over how you would put your data into this graph. So I'm going to, let's look at this one here that is Niger. So this one is this kind of maroon one. So you'll notice that there is a kind of a dot along each one of those. So what that is showing is the percent of people that survived. In this case, like this dot's representing how many people survived until 35. So and it's approximately 51% there. So that's how you're going to create your graph, is you're going to look at, and let me pull up our Excel file. I think I still have it in here. Yeah, that I sent to you. So what you're going to do is, once this comes up, so let's say you're going to do the information for the females that were born before 1900. So when they were in this age range of 0 to 9, all of them were alive. So on our graph, then we would say, we'll say this is 0 to 9 years of age, then we would have a dot up here that represents the survivorship of females that died before 1900, but when they were 0 to 9 years of age. So we would have a dot there. Then the next dot would go where our 10 to 19-year-olds, which would be 76%. So then if we'll say this one is for 10 to 19 years old, then we would have, oops, back here, like a dot right here for 67%. And then we would just keep going. So like the next one is 59% at 20 years of age. So if that was in here somewhere, we would put a dot there. So then once you get those dots for each one of those age ranges on there, then what you can do is connect the dots, and then that will give you your line. So you connect the dots all the way down, and then you'll have this line. So in this case, they did the line in a certain color, which I think is a good idea. So they use maroon, but you have to have a legend. So this is called a legend, and so you'll have to have, like, if this is the females that died before 1900, then you would write females that died before 1900, and then you would, write the color, or either spell out the name of the color, or just use your colored pencil or something to show that that represents the females that died before 1900. And then you would go to your next list of data here, men before 1900, use a different color, and then you would put your dots on there and then connect the lines. And then again, include them in the legend so we know what they all stand for. So you will have that data. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of data. So you'll have 6 lines on your, this one has 8, but you'll have 6 lines on your graph for that. So that is how you will complete your survivorship graph. And then after you have it completed, then on page 26, 27, and 28 in your lab packet will be questions that will be asked for you to kind of think about and speculate, maybe do some research on about this data, this particular data, and what you think it means. So that is your how to complete a survivorship graph, how to create a survivorship graph. And that's your assignment for next week. So please have your assignment done before you come to kind of turn it in when you get into lab next week, and then we can start on next week's lab. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.